Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on the News at 1 on 98 Channel 5 Abuja. I am Frama Panyi. Key achievements of President Muhammadu Buhari were highlighted in a book which has been officially presented to the public by Global Youth Awareness and Development Initiatives, GYADI, a non-governmental organization. Hakimat Aliyu brings us details.
This is the unveiling of the book titled Key Sector Achievement of President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, and its prospects for accelerated youth empowerment in Nigeria. The 323-page book, infused with detailed picture stories, is written by Prince Ebai, President, Global Youth Awareness and Development Initiative.
What inspired me is that the Mr. President's achievement, President Muhammadu Buhari, is not adequately publicized, such as the economy, security. There are too many, anti-corruption. There are too many of them to be mentioned. Information and communications technology, health, transportation sector, and all whatnot. In fact, he has done preciously well.
The book reviewer, Osita Okechukwu, Director General, Voice of Nigeria, described it as one which can serve as an encouragement for the Nigerian youth.
Take your time to go through this book. It will reassure you as a Nigerian youth that no matter how difficult the situation you find yourself, that this book has told us that President Muhammadu Buhari did not just become president in a day, that he grew up in an agrarian community in Daura.
Written in honor of the president to promote his good works under the current administration, the book is recommended to be read by all and sundry, with emphasis on the younger generation. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliyu, NTA News.
The Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory is proposing the payment of property tax on buildings that have been completed but not occupied in the Federal Capital Territory. Chairman of the committee, Senator Smart Adeyemi, at an inaugural meeting of the members of the committee, made it clear that uninhabited houses and estates are littered in and around the Federal Capital Territory without generating revenue for the FCT.
Why these houses have not been occupied?
Chairman of the committee, Senator Smart Adeyemi, at an inaugural meeting of members of the committee, made it clear that uninhabited houses and estates are littered in and around the Federal Capital Territory without generating revenue for the FCT.
We are going to work towards property tax to take from the rich to be able to save the poor. So if people have built houses and nobody is occupying them, we'll find out why these houses have not been occupied, and we'll call the attention of government to lock them up, so that criminals do not take charge, so that it doesn't become a thing for kidnappers. So these properties that are completed, that are not occupied, what we're going to do is to put in place measures that will compel them to start paying taxes, council tax, so that we can use the money to develop the city.
Adeyemi was appointed new chairman of the Senate Committee. Senator Smart Adeyemi was appointed new chairman of the Senate Committee on FCT on the 20th of September 2022, following a minor committee reshufflement.
The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy has announced the appointment of Bulus Samuela Yakubu as acting Postmaster General of the Federation and Chief Executive Officer, NIPOS, following the suspension of Dr. Ismail Adebayo Adewusi. A statement by the Director of Corporate Affairs, NIPOS, notes that Bulus Samuela Yakubu, who is from Taraba State, joined NIPOS service in 1990. Until his appointment, he was the Secretary to NIPOS Governing Board, Director of Special Duties, and NIPOS Liaison Officer to the National Assembly. Now, National Association of Nigeria Students, NANS, has expressed concern over rising security challenges in the nation. Chairman NANS FCT, Peter Jesse, says security of life and safety in schools should not be politicized. And Deborah Gazaji-Maika tells us more on the one-day security summit organized by the group in Abuja.
The summit focuses on rising security challenges and the role of security agents, students, and youths in combating insecurity in Nigeria. The summit revealed the efforts of government and offer new direction on intensifying security in schools.
Most of us don't know our rights as students. We don't know our duty on how to help fight insecurity. But with this summit now, it has a very major, a good effect on students.
To be with you all the time. Thank you very much, and Luther continua to
On another hand, students were enjoined to be vigilant and to offer valid information that will support security agencies.
It is your responsibility to say something when you see something. Because if you don't say something when you see something, the people that are responsible to take
particular place where that problem is about to happen at that time. So when you fail to say it, you are also endangering the lives of your family or the lives of your friends. So it is time for us to wake up and be very...
NTA Director General was recognized with an award which was received on his behalf by Mukhtar Abdullahi.
This country, we have a population of over 20 million people. And according to the statistic, 75% of this population are youth.
The event was supported by traditional and community leaders. The one-day summit, the one-day security summit highlighted the need for synergy among stakeholders in the ongoing fight against banditry, Boko Haram, drug abuse, and election manipulation. Deborah Gazaj-Micah, NTA News.
A 3-day community service by a core member on free eye and other various ailment tests has been concluded with a promise to do more for people in the future. Aisha Abdullahi reports that over 65 elderly people benefited.
These are pensioners benefiting from the free community service of Abuja core member Princess Okafor for her round-up sensitization program, which consisted of eye care and general health tests.
They have tested me and found out that my eye is not in order. They have given me a glass that I can read with.
The glass? I've been looking for this glass for some years. I can't get it. I thank God.
Princess says although she went through challenges, but giving out to society is what motivated her to the last day.
To get to the pensioners, because they were already old, and to get here, and it was almost impossible at first, but I just started the journey. So there's a saying that says prevention is better than cure. It's also in the eye care. So the advice is that they should come to the hospital first before, or seek medical advice from a professional who is in the field.
It's a development that as an organization we support. So we bought into it, and we are here today.
As a volunteer for the medical outreach of Dr. Princess Okafor for her personal community development service, it's one of the cardinal programs of the National Service Youth Service Corps, and it's a clarion call for all core members to give back to the society.
Visiting the hospital and care for our health can help reduce damage to our body system. Aisha Abdullahi, NTA News.
We'll take a short break here. We'll be back with more reports.
The immediate cause of the latest queues in Abuja remains unknown.
Conceived with the intent to ease the flow of traffic in the nation's capital.
Whichever way it turns out, either to consolidate on the existing mandate or institute a new dispensation.
Located within the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC. How much do people know about ADR? Are charting a path to having more youth participate in governance, in addition to building young entrepreneurs.
Right residents of the Federal Capital Territory are calling on the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, look into the situation.
You have to strike a balance to have a future that you don't have to regret.
Like experts say, what kills really is fear.
In Abuja,
NTA News.
Thanks for staying with us. International Day of Sign Language is a unique opportunity to support and protect the linguistic identity and cultural diversity of all deaf people and other sign language users. To this end, our correspondent explores the prospects of this form of communication to a global audience in need.
Sign language is the primary mode of communication used by the deaf and dumb. Internationally, according to the World Federation of the Deaf, there are more than 70 million deaf people worldwide. Many of these people are dependent on sign language as their means of interacting with others. For many people who are born deaf, sign language is their first language, and it is important for them to be able to effectively communicate with not only family members, but in the wider society.
Give a clear way, a clear spelling of communication and understanding, because education is for all and is the responsibility of all. So we should carry them along, because there should be no stigmatization, no left behind. All these things, you can put them together to make a sentence. I am going home.
A member of the Association of the Deaf suggests that sign language can be included in the curriculum to make communication with the deaf and dumb people easy, to allow the sharing of information and access to services. The UN has proclaimed every September 23rd as the International Day of Sign Language to raise awareness on the importance of sign language, seen as the deaf community has so much to offer to the society. In Abuja, Frama Pani, NTA News.
Alcoholic drinks are part of social life of those who love it. But many people assume the occasional intake of alcoholic wine at mealtimes or special occasions does not pose much cause for concern. Francisca Biller in this special report examines the dangers associated with the intake of alcohol.
Research by World Health Organization has shown that worldwide, 3 million deaths every year emanate from the harmful use of alcohol. This represents 5.3% of all deaths. Overall, 5.1% of the global burden of diseases and injury is attributable to alcohol as measured in disability-adjusted life years. Alcohol consumption causes death and disability relatively early in life. Regardless of the health implications and scriptural warning against drinking of alcohol, some Nigerians still indulge in the act. The fundamental question is, what informs that decision?
After the day's hustle and bustle, I sit down and relax to take 1 or 2 bottles.
Some people say they drink so that they can overcome issues of life, maybe stress, maybe family issues.
Medical experts say drinking of alcohol can potentially lead to unwanted health consequences, adding that people who drink heavily may notice more health effects sooner.
Withdrawal syndrome to the patient, alcohol dependency, and then other worsening of other chronic illnesses like hypertension, diabetes, and also, most importantly, causing other chronic illnesses like chronic liver disease.
Clerics in the FCT have warned against the intake of alcohol.
When you monitor the ministry of Jesus on earth, he never took any alcohol. And by that reason, every true child of God is not supposed to live with alcohol.
It's a devil work. First evil, stop it, because it can easily create enmity and fighting between people, and one can act out of his senses.
Past guidelines by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention around alcohol
generally suggest that alcohol possesses little effect on health and might even offer few health benefits. However, research shows that there is no safe amount of drinking since moderate drinking affects the brain negatively. In Abuja, Francisca Bile, NTA News.
Karamajigi is a community here in the FCT. Our correspondent went to explore that community and brought back this report.
In continuation of the story of Karamajigi, we found interesting the primary school.
The history of Karamajigi will not be completed without a mention of these relics of LEA Primary School, built in 1976, which marks the commencement of modern learning for the children of this particular community. Now, as we speak, the community has grown and improved in its education, having a junior secondary school, which they're still clamoring for senior secondary school.
The erosion of cultural norms and revered places of worship pose threats towards the people cherish.
Just like most communities in the nation's capital, Karamajigi is not different from its survival and existence over time. Modernity taking over cultural identity. This is Wupa water, which has a tributary right from the Asu Rock down to this place at Karamajigi. Now, this water here we learned is not just ordinary, particularly this location. It has spiritual linings that visitors are not even allowed to go closer to that very place.
The district head of the community, Yunusar Abdullahi Bago, was able to help us trace some important relics.
Getting to this place has not been easy, going through difficult terrains to arrive this very place. And it is also not ordinary because this used to be one of the worship centers, one of the gods for the community.
This is a place where it make our community be in peace. If we worship this place during the spiritual something, in any way you will see the way it will open. Our forefather has made us to say that if we need any clarification, we should come and worship this thing.
The success or otherwise of whatever the community intends to embark upon is solely dependent on the worship around this particular stone, which sometimes could be sacrifice of animals, particularly a ram.
Indeed, despite the development that envelops the community, the people still relish their tradition and places of worship.
This large space of a rocky area around the Wupa water in Karamajigi is one area that used to accommodate the community people whenever a particular ritual is being performed here. Learning from the people, tradition and history of the Karamajigi people has been so much wonderful. Time will also tell when we'll come back to begin to learn more about how modernity has also affected the well-being of these people.
Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
Anxiously waiting to hear more from that community, Abdullah Hajia. Thank you for that report. Now, prominent national figures, including top government functionaries, key political actors, traditional rulers, and captains of industries, have continued to condole with the FCT Minister of State, Ramotu Tijani Aliyu, following the demise of her mother. Ifeanyi Izumba reports.
Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, his wife Oludolapo Osibanjo, National Chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, Minister for Special Duties, Senator George Akume, Senator Philip Aduda, Chairman NDLEA General Buba Marwa, General Abdul Rahman Bello are among Nigerians who have visited the bereaved minister. The Vice President, in his condolence, said the contributions of the late Hajia Zainab Sidi Ali in the lives of so many, especially the less privileged, will remain indelible.
Of this federal capital territory. All we can say is that it is God who gives life, is the one who takes it. None of us has any control over when we come or when we go. But all that we are left with is the memories of the good things and the especially the contributions to the lives of others that the departed have made. And we're very confident that in the case of our dear mother, she made very significant contributions to the life of.
Earlier, the 16 graded chiefs in the FCT also paid condolences to the bereaved family. Ifeanyi Ezumba, NT News.
The immediate cause of the latest killings in Abuja remains unknown.
Conceived with the intent to ease the flow of traffic in the nation's capital.
Whichever way it turns out, either to consolidate on the existing mandate or institute a new dispensation.
Located within the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC. How much do people know about ADR? Are charting a path to having more youth participate in governance, in addition to building young entrepreneurs.
Residents of the Federal Capital Territory are calling on the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, look into the situation.
You have to strike a balance to have a future that you don't have to regret.
Like experts say, what kills really is fear.
In Abuja,
NTE News.
Let's now join Serafina Okon-Umokwe, who is standing by with business news.
Motorcycle importation into Nigeria has declined by 35.92% in the second quarter of 2022. This is according to foreign trade report of the National Bureau of Statistics. Hello, many thanks for joining me on Business News. I am Serafina Okon-Umokwe. The federal government, through its National Agricultural Seeds Council, has commenced moves to make Nigeria a full member of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in a bid to boost the country's exports of seeds. Director General NASC Dr. Philip Ojo said Nigeria's seeds will be sold globally with ease once the country attains the status of an OECD membership, noting that it will halt all forms of seeds dumping in Nigeria. In the first quarter of 2022, Nigeria imported motorcycles worth 57.17 billion naira from India, 17.34 billion naira from China, and 84.63 million naira from Indonesia. In this quarter, it was 1.26% of total imports and sixth most imported item. Traders are hard hit by the ban of motorcycles in several states of the Federation, owing to the threat by the federal government to outlaw commercial motorcycles, popularly called Okada. Motorcycle imports into Nigeria declined by 35.92% in the second quarter of 2022, according to the foreign trade report of the National Bureau of Statistics. As the report says, it has a total motorcycle imports crashed to 47.8 billion naira in the second quarter of 2022. The decline comes as the federal government considers banning the use of motorcycles and mining activities following the terrorist attack on Kuje Correctional Facility on July 5. Meanwhile, Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, revealed that the use of motorcycles allowed terrorists to move around funds sourced with mining and channels to purchase of arms. First Bank of Nigeria has suspended the usage of the Naira MasterCard, Naira Credit Card, our Virtual Card, and Visa Prepaid Naira Card for international transactions. This decision is sequel to the increasing scarcity of foreign currency in Nigeria. This was revealed in an email sent to customers. Review of cross-border limits on Naira card. The bank also noted that foreign transactions can only be made with dollar cards with $10,000 maximum. The bank said, and I quote, "Due to the current market realities on foreign exchange, you will no longer be able to use the Naira MasterCard, Naira Credit Card, our Virtual Card, and Visa Prepaid Naira Card for international transactions." The United States Federal Reserve Bank has announced a rise in its benchmark interest rates by 0.75%, the third such outsized rate increase in a row. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell vowed that he and his fellow policymakers will keep at their battle to beat down inflation, bringing the federal rates to 3% or 3.25% and increasing the cost of everything from credit card debit and mortgages to company financing. The Ghanaian cedis has dropped by a whopping 64.45% against the US dollar since the start of the year. The US dollar and the Ghana cedis was trading around 9.9495%. This depreciation was recorded despite Ghana's central bank interest rate hike to a record high of 22% in a bid to curb inflation and strengthen the cedi. Investors have dumped the cedis and the nation's bonds this year as concerns about the impact of a global slowdown in demand for commodities. Those movements feared an inflationary surge and pushed Ghana to begin talks with the IMF in July over an assistance package of as high as $3 billion. Ghana's debt by the end of July represented 78.3% of her GDP, up from 62.5% 5 years earlier. The government turned to taking out domestic loans, paying annual interest rates of about 30%. We come to a conclusion on business news. I am Serafina Okon Omekwe. Stay for the continuation of the news.
Director General of National in flood front.
Nationwide League One to start October 3rd as Rwanda releases final list to face Nigeria in the Under-19 International Cricket Council. Details with Gideon Johanna on Sports Brief.
Young offer VC threw in all Arsenals to emerge victorious against an experienced NSCDC side, causing confusion in the ongoing 2022 Nigeria Volleyball Premier League in Akure early hours of Friday. Winning 3-2 in a highly contested game, Offa VC remain unbeaten in 6 games at the Indoor Sport Hall of Ondo State Sports Council. Cricket. Prior to the 2023 Cricket World Cup Africa Division 2 qualifier, Nigeria's Group B opening, Rwanda have released the final list of players for the tournament to begin September 30th to October 8th in Abuja, Nigeria. The last qualifying round in 2022 will bring together 8 countries to include Nigeria, Botswana, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Rwanda, and Sierra Leone. Rwanda will play its first opening game against Nigeria on Saturday, the 1st October. And 8 teams will fight it out to decide who becomes the Nationwide League One NLO champion come 3rd to 8th October 2022, the Secretariat of the nation's 3rd-tier domestic league announced. Smart City FC and Madiba FC of Lagos State, Melan Turkey FC of Abuja, amongst others, will compete for the first spot to determine the overall winner of the NLO 2022 season, as the National Stadium in Surulere hosts the 6-day event with 20 players and 5 officials from each team to compete. With Sports Brief, Gideon Johanna, NTA News.
And that concludes the news at 1 on NTA Channel 5 Abuja. Do join us at 7 evening for another broadcast. Have a good day.